To understand what I'm about to tell you, you need to do something first. You need to believe in the impossible. Can you do that?
What do you desire that you can't have?
Now you should at least give a brother a moment to say something heroically clever.
You have failed this city.
So I have this thing with rolls?
Just the end of the world.
There's about a dozen ways that I could stop you right now. But I don't think I have to.
You're the boy from the circus.
I started up a security firm.
Finally, a superhero team I can actually get behind.
In the future, my friends may not be heroes, but if we succeed, they will be remembered as legends.
Welcome to the DC TV report for the week ending Saturday, June 6th, 2020. I'm Little Eddie O'Hare, aspiring professional fanboy.
And I'm Sarah Netzley, academic by day, writer by night.
We're here to bring you recaps, news, and commentary for all live-action television shows based on DC Comics.
And we've got 2 new episodes this week. One of them was a season finale, so goodbye, Legends, for now.
And they're not scheduled to return until May of next year.
Yeah,
Sarah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a while.
Yeah, almost an entire year. But do have a great episode to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Lot going on in the world. Hope everyone's staying safe.
It's June, and we'll see what this month brings us.
Yeah. But I'm excited. We have a lot to talk about. A little bit of housekeeping. Thank you everyone for listening. If you haven't already, please rate and review us on your podcast app of choice. That helps more people find us. And if you want to be really helpful, we are part of Wicked Theory Studios, which has a Patreon, patreon.com/Wicked Theory. And on for as little as $1 a month, you can help us with our overhead. And there's a bonus podcast there called Ed Bonds with Bill, where our executive producer Bill Sweeney and I watch James Bond movies. Sarah, last week we finished the official Eon canon with A View to a Kill, Roger Moore's last Bond effort.
Okay, I have a couple questions. Did one or both of you shed a little tear?
I mean, a little bit, because we are starting the Apocrypha next month.
And
the unofficial Bond films.
My next question is, how did you choose that one to be the last official one?
Well, we started with Roger Moore, so I thought it would be fitting that we end with Roger Moore, and it is also my least favorite of all of those movies.
Weird choice to end on. That's so weird.
Yeah, save the worst for last. Well, there were 4 phases to it, and we were in the last phase, which is the last ditch efforts phase. So I thought it would be fun to go out. Plus, there's an absolutely frightening Grace Jones, and Walken as he's slowly turning into the Walken that we know and make fun of today. Yes. And there's a Charlie's Angel in it. Yeah. Lots.
Well, that
lots
sounds
of stuff.
Promising.
Yeah, and Roger Moore post-facelift, and dozens of stuntmen subbing in for him that look absolutely nothing like him.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. But it's James Bond, so they're all great. It's still great. So yeah. That's what's been going on with me. Sarah, what's been going on with you?
It's summer break for me, so I'm home. And I would be home anyway, so I'm home. That's what's going on with me.
Have you had any guest spots on other podcasts recently?
No, but I do think a booking happened on Twitter yesterday for Moving the Needle. They tweeted a movie gif at me and asked if I was in, and I'm in. So look for news about that coming up soon. It is continuing my string of I only talk about movies from the 90s. Apparently that's my specialty now, and I'm into it.
Okay.
So.
Do you want to drop what the movie was, or let people be surprised?
Well, you know what? Until I officially confirm, I feel like I shouldn't, So I haven't actually talked with any of the dudes, just exchanged gifts. But I'm hopeful that it's one of the. It's a comedic masterpiece from the '90s, so
Okay, so you have a verbal agreement, but you haven't officially signed a letter of intent. I understand.
Exactly. I think that's sports, and exactly.
Oh, college recruiting. All right. You ready to jump into some episodes?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. First up is Stargirl, Season 1, Episode 3, Icicle. Jordan McKent, aka Icicle, rolled it back into Blue Valley to handle damage control after Brainwave's coma and take charge at the American Dream Building. Courtney was anxious to go after the Injustice Society members hiding in Blue Valley. It was talent show day at Blue Valley High, and William Zarek's son Joey was excited to try his magic act. Pat decided Mike needed a paper route. Last minute reveal, Courtney swiped the JSA artifacts and told the cosmic staff it was time to recruit.
And they killed that kid. Oh my god.
I know, right?
Oh my god. That took a turn.
Yeah. You know what? As much as we were calling this like this is really like early aughts Disney Channel, and then all of a sudden they had to throw that in and go, no, this is DC Universe.
Which honestly I appreciate. I mean, that really kind of distinguishes it from some of those. I don't think Miley Cyrus should play her anymore. Like it's that. Dang. That flying card, that card flying through the air. That's when I was like, oh, they're not messing around. Oh my god.
Yeah. No. This is we mean business here.
I was inappropriately amused when his dad went storming home and angrily snatched up his wand. That was intense.
Yeah. Also, I kind of like the idea that the wizard's son is not great, is mediocre at magic. Although that one moment where Courtney lies and tells him that no, that was her card. I thought, yes, okay, that's a good character moment. That's like,
you stole the words. A great character moment, and yeah, that shows a lot about her, and her warmth and kindness is very nice.
Yes, and we have a tall, dark, and brooding possible love interest that we met in this episode.
Okay,
Sarah, you should be the one to discuss this. What are your thoughts on Cameron?
Oh, Ed, I'm very, very, very into the possibility of this because, oh my god. So, like, his dad is a villain, but maybe he's making eyes at Courtney and maybe he's going to find out she's, fighting villains. And is he going to be torn? Is there going to be loyalty? Is he going to, is it seem like he's going to be against her, but is he going to have a change of heart? I am in. You got me, Stargirl. You got me. Hook, line, and sinker, you got me. So, I hope it doesn't let me down. I may have overly high expectations on this. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. I thought he was very dark and brooding.
Yes. And I mean, it's a great counterpoint to your sunny Courtney. I mean, that's just how you do it.
Yeah, and it's and this is it's a shame when I see the IMDb. And I got it spoiled for me because at the end you do the reveal that he's Icicle's son.
It was not spoiled for me, and I actually I gasped a couple of times in this episode. One with the oh my god, they killed that kid, and then oh my god, it's his son. Which, I mean, if you think back, that the actor they cast as the child was very dark. So I mean, there was it was very intentionally here's a very blonde father and here's a very dark boy. So I get what they were trying to prepare us for, and it worked on me.
Yeah, and and so we got to see Icicle's family life. His two immigrant parents who are all for his project, New America. Kind of like, scary Nazis right there. And seeing Icicle really just come in and completely take over American Dream. Almost, Sarah, do you follow Better Call Saul?
I am real far behind, like
Okay.
seasons behind, but I have seen the first 2 or 3.
I was gonna say it sort of reminds me of how Lalo, who's a character who comes in from the drug cartel and just completely upends everything, and tells people to get it together.
Yes, that sounds right. That's Better Call Saul is a show I love, but my lawyer husband finds incredibly stressful, and he does not want to sit down at the end of a work day and rewind or unwind with that. So it's a problem. It's a point of disagreement for us. I would watch it tonight if I could, but he just doesn't find it to be a fun, relaxing time.
It's interesting because my I a few since this pandemic started, I've introduced my parents to Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and they're in season 5 right now. But my dad's a retired lawyer, so he's looking at a lot of that stuff and laughing because he doesn't have to worry about it anymore.
Well, Jason had opened his own firm the year it premiered, and so that hustle to get a firm off the ground was a little too real. So it just, and then in the second season, as they're starting to, like, they get a building and they expand and it really was kind of a scary parallel. And then we started thinking, like, no, this is not, we don't want this to be the model for your law firm. So no, it's is it okay if I say I almost like it better than Breaking Bad? I mean, this is not what we're here to talk about, but
yeah. I could see an argument for that. A lot of people are coming out and saying that it's sneaky better than Breaking Bad. But back to,
I'm a big fan of Kim. Okay, let's just we'll just
back to Icicle. It's funny. It's kind of like, oh, okay, it's just how tough and scary can Icicle be? It's just like another version of Mr. Freeze or Killer Frost. And you found out he's damn imposing, and he kills a kid.
Yeah, he kills a kid. Yeah, and not even like on accident. I mean, it's one thing if you're like, oops, but no.
Yeah. He kills one of his partner's sons
to send a message.
Yeah.
I feel really bad because in the beginning, when that kid goes off to school in his top hat, I was like, he deserves what he gets today. Then, I'm so sorry.
Well, also it's the kind of thing where the Buffy fan in me is going, oh, not a regular in the series and really, really endearing. This person's a dead man.
Yeah. I know what Joss would do.
And it's it's cool to see, that they went there. And
then they killed his dad.
Yeah.
That's a bad day for the mom.
Ooh, yeah. So there's one thing we actually got tweets about, an aspect of this episode that I feel like we need to discuss, both from at Deke273 and at BauerFett, talking about Mike Dugan and Pat. Dan asked, does Pat not care about his own son? It's almost like Mike is an afterthought. And BauerFett predicts that Mike will be the big bad into season 2 with an orange mutant bulldog.
I don't understand what that means, but Mike sucks, and I'm on Team Pat here. Ignore that child.
Yeah. I think that's the problem, is that he's in a small town and he's bored, so he's getting in trouble. And maybe he just needs something to focus him a little bit.
Like a paper route.
Yeah. Yeah. Also the reference to Paperboy. And I remember watching my cousin Pete play that on Super Nintendo.
Okay, the one part of this episode that really didn't ring true to me was uh, Mike being like, Nintendo? Was he, did I interpret that? Was he kidding? Do we not have Nintendo
Well, no,
in this?
it was Atari.
Oh, Atari! I'm sorry.
It
Yes,
was
thank you. Atari. Yeah, what was, like, do kids today not know, do they not respect their elders?
Well,
Their elder video game systems?
This is the kind of thing where, like, once streaming became more prevalent and kids got everything off of the internet, it wasn't like when we were kids where you would just sit in front of a TV and cable was on, and cable just showed all old stuff. So you'd sit on channel 11 and just watch all kung fu movies and Godzilla movies, and maybe flip to AMC and see a bunch of Laurel and Hardy shorts. A lot of kids have no sense of anything that came out, before they were 4 years old.
Sure.
So
just a little part of me shriveled.
Yeah, and Atari, and Atari pretty much all but folded in the 80s, I think. Maybe early 90s. So that does track.
Oh, that makes me sad. R.I.P.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I want to talk about nothing else for the rest of this segment except Dr. Midnight's owl.
Yeah. That poor owl waiting for Dr. Midnight.
He doesn't know Dr. Midnight's dead. Okay, I trigger warning everybody. I'm going to bring up a Futurama episode, and I think you all know which one it's going to be. So, skip ahead. But if they do a Jurassic Park on us, I can't be responsible for the tears I will shed. So,
Oh, you're thinking they might pull a Hedwig?
Oh no, Jurassic Park from Futurama is the dog that waits for his master and waits, and it will rip your heart out of your chest. Even seeing a still from that episode can make me like, I need a second. But that's kind of what it's like. He doesn't know that Dr. Midnight is. Or the Hedwig thing would be bad too. Like, there's a lot of ways this owl can hurt me, is what I'm saying. But did you enjoy seeing the Ed, tell me what you thought about that whole scene.
Oh, I thought it was great. I thought, oh my god, they're doing everything, like, and they even have Alan Scott Green Lantern in there, which is like the one character, like, Green Lantern's so hard to do that, like, would they even put that there? Like, nope, they got Jake Eric Flash and Alan Scott Green Lantern right next to him, like, and to see all those artifacts, wow, it's really cool. And a lot of that stuff is really dangerous, especially that pen that has Johnny Thunder's Thunderbolt. And I think Courtney does not know what she's doing.
That's clear.
And needs to be very, very careful.
I was happy for all you comic people in that scene. That just felt like it was probably very cool for you all. So congratulations. I can't decide if when Courtney is telling Pat, like, we're going to find the bad guys and we're going to kick their butt, blah, blah, blah. Are they trying to make her, I mean, they must, now that I'm putting it all together, that was woefully naive of her, right? Like, to me, you think you can just kick their butts and it's going to, no, that's not, you're messing with much larger. And so then they killed that kid, and hopefully that changes the stakes, because that was so Disney that I was like, oh my God. So I see now that maybe I was not giving the show enough credit, and they're maybe setting it up for her to have this harsh awakening that, oh, I can't just, put on these shorts and do that. I don't know. I'll be really curious where they go with that.
Yeah. I'm curious too.
I also think there's a very interesting show about Pat's survivor guilt. Like that, I like what they're doing with him. This, like, I'm the only one who made it, so that's gonna be interesting too. And also, what kind of designs does Icicle have on Courtney's mom? Like,
ooh,
are they making eyes? I don't know. Like, I'm in. Usually I forget and I watch Stargirl on Friday nights, but I feel like episode 4 is going to drop in I mean, as you're listening to this the next day, basically, so I'll probably be watching it sooner because I'm curious.
Yeah, I feel like that's the kind of thing where he may be making eyes at her, but I don't think I think Barbara's loyal to Pat.
Well, I mean, how could you not be? Pat's a golden retriever. Actually, he's a chocolate lab. I'm sorry. Look at the hair color. His brother Owen is a golden retriever. Not a very smart one. Luke is like the smart chocolate lab. That's my take on the Wilson brothers. You're welcome.
They're not both labs?
Nope.
Because, you know, there are
Litters.
golden labs.
I guess he could be a golden lab. I don't know. Which dog is laid back and probably a little stoned?
I would think that more of a Labrador than a retriever.
Fair. All right. Fair enough.
Oh, all right.
Do you want to move on? There's no news here. There's no news.
Okay. All right. So our second and final episode for this week is DC's Legends of Tomorrow, Season 5 finale, Swan Thong. The Legends stormed the temple to try and break the Fate's control over Fate. Charlie became terrified at the thought of confronting Lachesis. Bayrod was happy to have two Zaris now, but began feeling himself tear apart. Last-minute reveal, everyone was too drunk to notice a mysterious beam surround Sara and pull her up into space.
I gotta be honest, all of my notes on this episode revolve around Cisco. So I just need you to brace yourself for that.
Well, it's funny because like they start in the museum and you see his name listed as a guest star in the credits and you're like, oh no, what are they gonna do? And for a second I'm like, oh, so that's really Cisco. Oh, they're not just gonna have him as a mannequin in the background, are they? I seriously thought that might happen.
I did
for a
too.
Second. I'm like, oh man, what does it come to? Oh, things are bad for Cisco right now that he's got to do that. But then no, he does pop up at the end. For a great song, for a great rendition of a song that I was forced to sing in its entirety at karaoke parties. Mainly because my friends thought it was funny, because evidently I am very white.
Can confirm. Wait, you say parties plural. Is this a thing that happened more than once?
Yes, it's happened at least twice.
It's amazing. So can I know we have other stuff to talk about, but the Thong Song was written by Tim and Bob, the songwriting duo of Tim Kelly and Bob Robinson from Peoria, Illinois, where I live. I, as a young journalist, interviewed one of those dudes. I cannot remember which. It was 20 years ago, to talk about the success he was having with the Thong Song. And he was like, yeah, it's the song that let me buy my mom a nice house. And like, it was really a nice interview. But okay, so get this. You know, in Thong Song, they have that little lick about La Vida Loca, which is from the Ricky Martin song. Cisco wanted to put that in, and Tim and Bob were like, no, dude, if you do that, we're going to get sued for copyright. And Cisco was like, you put that in. And they were like, all right, dude, it's your song. Sure enough, they got sued for copyright. Ricky Martin said, that is my, that's my musical arrangement of that. And so Ricky Martin gets a little cut of the royalties every time that song is played, and it comes out of Cisco's share and not Tim and Bob's, because they were the ones who were like, no, you can't do that. And Cisco was like, we're doing it. So when they got to that point in the episode this past week, I was like, oh, Ricky Martin just made some money. So there is your Thong Song trivia, brought to you by Hard Hitting Reporting in 2001. You're welcome.
There you go.
We can talk about the episode now.
Yeah. And there's a lot to talk about. Where to start? That museum in general, seeing all of the bad guys from this past season collected in one place. I thought that was a lot of fun.
I thought you were going to talk about the Museum of Bad Ideas and the shake weights and things, but
God.
both were really good. I love that they have Ava to walk through and be like, what is this? That's such a great character to have to react to these things.
Yes, very bad ideas. Interesting to think that would take up a whole third of a building devoted to humanity's mistakes. This is why we shouldn't have free will. And I thought that was an interesting message for this to tackle. Really, like, in terms of nonconformity, but really talking about personal freedom and individual liberty. Uh, I thought it was a kind of a bold message to put out there from this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. That is a little more intelligent a remark that I was going to make, which is, which weird season finale fight scene was better, the going into battle with a pogo stick and shake weights, or Bebo?
I really don't think anything is ever going to top Bebo. I think just because of the pure absurdity of that. And because I have with several of my friends and family members, I have just pulled up that scene and just watched this, and then that giant 20-foot tall stuffed animal comes out and fights that dragon. Yeah. I don't think anything is ever going to top that. And I like I like that the showrunner, that the writers know that, but is still confident that we could still have fun too. And to have the giant battle set to the Thong Song, I think was a bold choice.
The whole thing was just perfection.
Yeah, let's talk about the outcome of some of this. We in order to save Bayrod's life, the Totem Zari had to go back into the totem. And we had some heartwarming goodbyes, which was weird because you're saying goodbye to that character, but the actress is still going to be around next season.
Yeah, I obviously it would have been probably too much to have both Zaris stick around, but that was sad. And I thought Nate seemed like, oh well, easy come, easy go. I was disappointed in Nate, but that's kind of standard.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and also Charlie said goodbye to the legends. And are we saying goodbye to that actress too? Is she going to pop up as another character, or?
So, I mean, this gets into the news a little bit, and we can talk about it more in depth. But I did not see her listed in the people who were going to be on the ship next season. So I don't know exactly what they're going to. But she strikes me as somebody who they must like working with that actress, because they do bring her back a lot. So I would be curious to see how that goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sarah got her eyesight back.
And we know she was connected to a god. Then she killed a god, so that was exciting. Always a good day.
Yeah, and it seems like Mick and Lita are on much better terms.
Yes, that was their fun. They make a good duo, and if she is on the Wave Rider a little more, that would be cool.
Also, I will say, Lita's hall talk to Charlie in this episode, I'm going to put up there as the best hall talk of the 2019-2020 television season.
What? Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I thought it was real emotional, but it wasn't sappy. It was straight up, hey, this is what's at stake. We're the kind of people that you're fighting for right now. Don't take this for granted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was she has really, I like what they did with that whole storyline. They didn't devote a ton of time to it, I feel like. I mean, they did, but they I don't know. I'm glad that they developed it the way that they did, given the busyness of the episodes this season. They did a lot of stuff this season, and I'm so glad they spent the time they needed to develop that relationship. It's awesome.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Wonder Twin wind power? I quite enjoyed that.
That was fun. That was fun. Yes. And I'm just looking through here to see if there's anything. So Gary and Mona were in this episode. Do you think Mona's gonna be sticking around, or is she gonna be going back to romance writing?
I My guess is that we aren't going to see her on the reg next season, but she might pop up here and there, which is fine. It's good. I like when people leave the ship and you can see them again. Speaking of, we had Marie Antoinette back, so
yes,
I guess it's interesting that they couldn't do a Brandon Routh cameo in the previous episode, but they did get Courtney Ford in this one. I don't know. I mean, I'm grateful. She was great. It's good to see her again.
yeah. And I'm just looking through. Okay. Anything? It's gonna be a while before we see these characters again. And it was a huge cliffhanger because their leaders got abducted by aliens. So exciting to see. This feel like these last couple of seasons have had a very fantasy mythology bent, and it looks like next season we're going to be going back into sci-fi, and I wonder if we get like a real straight up Doctor Who feel for next season.
And they don't there has been no indication of what kind of aliens we're going to be dealing with, so that could be fun, something new, or a return to, I don't know, the denominators or whatever. Dominators. Denominators is the math team from Mean Girls. Sorry, everybody.
yeah. Or maybe we'll get the Kundians. They're sort of big, strong purple guys who are sort of like the Klingons of the DC universe.
Awesome. It would be funny if we got the whatever they were called from the TV episode previously, from the Star Trek episode. But I do think Star Trek would come knocking on the door with an infringement complaint.
Yeah, you can make a Gromulans joke. We'll let you do that once. But
Gromulans, that was it. Thank you.
Yeah. Or maybe she's going to War World. You know what comes with War World?
All I can think is Thor Ragnarok, and I don't think that's right. But Jeff Goldblum in weird face makeup is what comes with. No, that's not. Okay, continue.
Mongol.
Okay.
He's a big. He's basically think like Thanos, except yellow instead of purple.
Oof. Okay.
and yeah, he has this giant spaceship that's the size of a planet, and he just captures super beings from across the universe and makes them fight in his arena. So
all right.
Kind of like a Running Man with superpowers.
Cool.
So
I do like world ships. I like world ships. That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah. Generally, he's
Generation
more of a
ship. That's it.
Yes, yeah. Generally, he's more of a Superman character, and he's fought the Justice League a lot. And maybe a little high price for Legends, but I'm just spitballing. These are the kind of space age, cosmic characters that they can come across.
Well, they've got some time to figure it out because not till May 2021.
Or maybe we'll bring in Lobo.
They did have that actor who looked straight off the convention floor, so
yes.
Krypton.
Yeah, and if they could pull in Matt Ryan from Constantine, they can certainly pull in Lobo from Krypton.
Emmett, what's his name? Yeah.
All right. Any other general news for Legends?
Yeah, actually. So, in the silly news, Cisco, they sort of spitballed Cisco in the Thong Song to be funny in the writer's room, and then they started building the episode around it and realized, well, we need to ask Cisco. So that call to ask Cisco if he'd be willing to do this was apparently rather a nerve-wracking one, but Cisco was in right away. He dyed his hair silver so it would look like it did in the video, and he pulled out that old costume and it still fit, so good on you, Cisco. So yeah, he was very game. When he came on set, the whole cast was just like, oh my god, it's Cisco! So it sounds like it was very fun all the way around, because of course it would be, because it's Legends and they're fun, and Cisco brings the fun. As does Ed and karaoke, apparently. We do have a little bit of news about season 6, and one is it's interesting the names that are listed as going to be on the ship. You've got Sarah and Ava, you've got Constantine, you've got Mick, you've got Zari and Bayrod. That and Nate, and that's it for actual like names that are listed as season 6 on the ship. But they are going to have to recruit a new legend, a woman who was abducted by aliens when she was a child and supposedly imbued with powers that will help the team defeat their intergalactic foes. Either that or she's just crazy. So that's who we're going to be seeing joining the cast in season 6.
Okay. Cool.
And then the last bit of news is, I think, easily the weirdest bit of news. And it hurts me to have to report this because you all know my feelings about this, but I have news about the Hawk people. Falk Henschel, who played Hawkman on The Flash, right, is where he started and then came over to Legends.
Yeah.
Is part of he filmed a short, like a 3-minute short, that is part of an anthology that is going to benefit the Book Industry Charitable Foundation. The short it's part of a larger project where fan-made films primarily are going to be gathered in this sort of comedic vignette collection set in the world of Legends of Tomorrow. Various alt-reality takes on the Legends characters. Some are going to be straightforward live action, some are animation, some are action figures. So it's just kind of like fan projects. They will be available on June 9th. And like I said, the money is going to go toward the Book Industry Charitable Foundation, which works to bail out small bookstores and comic shops struggling with financial hardships. So yeah, look for that on June 9th. I didn't see where it was going to be distributed, but the Hawkman short is about 3 minutes, and it features Hawkman himself with a cameo by Hawkgirl Ciara Renee. They do have some of the trappings of Hawk people. They were able to kind of, I guess, get the rights to certain things, and I don't want to spoil it because it's 3 minutes and it's very hawky. So if you're a Hawk person, you can find that online. I saw it at comicbook.com. Check it out and look for the whole anthology to benefit struggling bookstores and comic shops.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Looking forward to that.
Believe me, I did not expect I would find Hawk people news when I went looking for news this week. So.
Yeah. And you know what? They're really important characters in the DC universe, and it's kind of a shame that they've been kind of set aside in the TV universe. So it's nice to see them get any play.
Yeah. And I gotta say, Falk Henschel really went for it. He really went for it. So
So one day I'm gonna have to introduce you to Jeff Johns' run on Hawkman. Or actually, right now it'd be really great because Stargirl is an important part of it. Like Jeff Johns' run on JSA, which I think starts with a new Hawkgirl and kind of a reincarnation of Hawkman.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe that's something.
That's some summertime reading.
Yeah, if you have time to read like 150 pages, 150 issues of comics,
Yeah. I mean, it is summer. And I don't know where our buddy at Bowerfed is right now, but wherever he is, he's giggling maniacally at how much Hawk conversation I've just had. So.
Yeah.
You want to move on to the rest of the news?
Yeah, let's do it.
Slight. It's slight this week. Although this first one is big. Batwoman. We have some news about how they're going to replace Ruby Rose after she announced her departure from Batwoman, and they are going to apparently be bringing in a whole new character who is night and day different from Kate Kane. The casting notice for Ryan Wilder describes a female mid-late 20s, any ethnicity, who is likable, messy, a little goofy, and untamed. Nothing like Kate Kane. Yeah, so it sounds like she's going to be. I mean, they took Kate Kane and then they did not that. So there's some talk that Ryan Wilder is not the real name, that it could be covering for like a Carrie Kennedy or one of the other Stephanie something. Anyway,
Stephanie
Ed,
Brown.
Say things. What do you think about this?
I hate this idea.
Okay, go ahead. Why?
Well, one, just because I think dramatically for the show, it would set it back a long ways. Because a lot of the show relied on the dynamic between Kate and Alice. And I thought that backstory, and just like it feels very true to the source material, and this kind of departure. At that point, you should just make it Barbara Gordon and call the show Batgirl.
Mm-hmm.
You know, uh, I think that it would be very damaging narratively for the show to do that. And I think there's kind of an obsession that's really happened in like the last 20 years, where if an actor leaves the show, you can't just replace them. You have to bring in a whole new character. Um, and that didn't used to be the case, and I think especially in comics, we should get used to the idea that different actors can play the same role.
Mm-hmm.
And just have different interpretations. And you can have a different actress play Kate and maybe make her a little brighter or funnier, and still have her be Kate Kane. And I'm hoping that this was just someone made a mistake and just put this casting posting up and didn't mean to let people know that it was for Batwoman. Um, and maybe it's not. Maybe it's a new lead character that's not going to be Batwoman. I'm hoping that's the case. But
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll just have to see.
Yeah, I feel like I have less of a dog in this fight because I haven't read comics and things like that, but I agree with you. More than anything else, I'm very into the Alice, Mary, even the Sophie stuff, Julia.
Mhm.
I mean, like every single relationship on that show obviously and necessarily centers on Kate, so you just lose the whole what happens with her dad? What's the where's the tie? So I would like to see them. Honestly, all you have to do is have a streak of Barry Allen running past the frame if you want to be like, oh, he messed with the timeline. This is Kate Kane now. I mean, if you don't want to just have no explanation for her, there's so many ways you could do it and keep Kate Kate. So, yeah, I'm with you. I'm disappointed too, but if they were bringing in a character like this to work with her and to make her just absolutely frustrated, that would be kind of cool, but that's not how it was reported. It was reported as the Batwoman replacement, so we'll see what comes of that, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then last bit of news is the Green Lantern
Green Lantern
show
music
that's percolating at HBO Max. And HBO Max content chief Kevin Riley explained how Green Lantern might differ from like CW type shows, and he said that it will have the highest level of cinematic production values. So, no shade to the CW shows, but they would be bringing out, the best of the best to do special effects. I guess my question is, the Green Lantern movie, in theory, had the highest level of cinematic production values, and that didn't help. So, I don't know. Do we feel better about this announcement, or?
I mean, I think it's a vote of confidence. I think it's also reminding us that show's still happening, because
Yeah.
it's been a while since we've heard new news on it. So, yeah. I think that's a lot of this is gonna have, because like even more so than special effects, a lot of the success of that show is gonna depend on its tone.
Mm-hmm.
And of course special effects goes along with that. And I think part of it is that they relied too much on digital effects and not enough on practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something that's very easy to do, because to do a Green Lantern story right, most of it has to be set in space with a lot of aliens, and it's cheaper to do those with CG than it is practically. I'm hoping that he has an actual suit, that's not all digitally put in. I thought that was a terrible idea in the Ryan Reynolds movie. But if you're asking, like, does this inspire confidence? Yeah. It's because I'd almost forgot that show was going to happen. And I think this is the first mention we've had since the service launched.
Yeah, basically. So should it be, when you say tone, are you talking like comedic tone or serious tone, or?
It should feel like a cop show.
Okay.
That's
okay.
Because that's really, they're an intergalactic police force. So depending on which characters you have, it could kind of have like a Lethal Weapon type vibe to it. Kind of like a Lethal Weapon in space. That could be that. Like if I were approaching Green Lantern, that would be the approach that I would have to it.
Huh. I saw the movie once, and that I that does not feel like in the
No.
universe of the same property. So that's interesting.
No. And the big problem with that movie is that the climax took place on Earth. The second Green Lantern goes back to Earth. That's when like, oh, come on. That's when it gets boring. You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Green Lantern.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
so I will be curious if we get, when is that? So this gets to my bigger issue of this HBO Max launch. Ed, have you logged into HBO Max yet? Have you checked it out?
Because it's not on Roku, so I haven't.
Oh, that's right. So we still, I haven't even bothered to figure out where I can access it. So I feel like this rollout is maybe not what they wanted it to be.
No.
And so maybe that's why they're doing announcements like this. So maybe we'll hear more about the other shows they announced but haven't really moved forward on. I don't know.
Yeah. I know. I have friends who said they found it on Apple TV or PS4. Where I guess you could just go to the website and plug an HDMI straight into your computer. But that can be annoying.
Yeah. So I guess I could always do Chromecast from my laptop, maybe? I don't know.
You could do Chromecast. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that, right. But I shouldn't have to. HBO Max. I shouldn't have to.
No, you shouldn't. They didn't deal with Roku, and they didn't deal with Amazon. What are you doing? I would not have announced my launch date until those deals were finished.
Uh-huh.
But all right, and that's the last of the news, you say?
That's okay. What we got.
All right, so now it's time for our.
Wait, do we want to? Are we also doing a retro pick? Do we want to?
Let's do the winners, and then we'll announce our retro pick.
Fair enough. Okay.
So, winners of the week.
Sure. Do you want me to go?
Yeah.
Sarah Lance is my winner of the week because killed a fate, got her eyesight back, got abducted by aliens, got to party with Cisco. I feel like that's a really good week for Sarah Lance. I don't know. I just thought she had an interesting arc at the end of the season, and she made being a blind assassin look so cool. So I just was a big fan of her work this week. So Sarah Lance won the week for me. How about you?
So mine's a theme, and it's weekend dating spots. Places if you have a free weekend, places you'd take a date to. So the museum right there, most of Legends this Legends episode took place in a museum, and that would be a great little day trip. And on Stargirl, Barbara Whitmore saved the local community theater, and community theater shows. That's a great way to spend a weekend evening.
That is a lovely, lovely winner of the week.
All right. So Sarah. One last bit since Stargirl is the only show that's airing next week. We're in line for a retro pick, and we're gonna have two free weeks coming up. So Sarah and I have discussed, and there are two movies that are available on both DC Universe and HBO Max if you can find it. And they are Batman and Batman Returns. Next week our retro pick is going to be Tim Burton's Batman from 1989, starring Jack Nicholson and Michael Keaton.
I am excited about this. I haven't seen that movie in so long.
Yes. That was one of the VHS tapes that, from the time I could, in my conscious memory, I feel like I've always had that movie memorized. To the point where a few years ago, it just happened to be on cable, and it was around the holidays, and my sister and my brother-in-law Mike were staying with us, and we were watching the movie for like a full 10 minutes, just Mike and I sitting on the couch, and then Irene walks into the room and says, Eddie used to have this memorized, and Mike goes, he still does. I didn't realize that I had unconsciously been reciting the dialogue with the movie as it was happening. Six. Yeah, six is good. 6 is good. All right. So that's something. Sarah, you looking forward to this?
Yes, very much. Very much.
Yeah.
I am glad to revisit the Michael Keaton years.
All right. And all right, so that's the DC TV report for this week. You can find us on Twitter. I'm at Lil Letty O'Hare.
And I'm at Sarah Netzley, SaraNetzley.
And follow the show on Twitter at DCTV Report. Send along your emails, dctv@wickedtheory.com. Also, be sure to subscribe to our show on your podcast app of choice and rate and review us. That helps more people find us. Check out our sister show, the Wicked Theory Podcast. This has been a Wicked Theory Studios production. Executive producer, Bill Sweeney. Visit us at wickedtheory.com. Shazam, everybody.
Shazam.
Shazam!